What's up, Keep Pounding crew? We're back today with another video. Keep pounding! Today's topic is Mike Tolbert and the Cam Newton situation. If you like the video, if you like the channel, hit that like button, hit that sub button, select all on the bell, and let's get going. So, as of right now, Cam Newton is still a free agent. Now, Mike Tolbert, one of my favorite Panthers of all time, is in the building, ladies and gents. And he blows the whistle on our management. He said that this was not the correct injury that was stated for Cam Newton. They stated he had a high ankle sprain. Now, what did he actually have? Go look it up for yourselves. Not the correct injury. And guess who gets the blame for that one? Ron Rivera and the training staff. Yet again. I've been saying it for months and months on end. This training staff and Ron Rivera have been covering up these injuries for years. Thank God he's gone. They can't get away with that garbage anymore. I would hope not. I would hope that the source of this was actually Ron Rivera. But we don't know that for 100% sure. Did Marty have a hand in this? We don't know. I'm not going to say yes until we have any kind of proof, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was. I think it was Ron. I think it was the training staff. And I think it was partially the players, just saying, okay, let me onto the field. I think I can play. Because of their own selfish feelings of wanting to play on the field and try to help the team win the game. Well, it's not so much selfish as it is I struggle to find the right word here. It's a team-based attitude, but it's also a selfish attitude as well. So I don't want to put it on either one of those categories, so I'll put it in both. Based on that fact, we may never know the truth about what went on. Unless Mike Tolbert said something. He put some of the pieces together, we have to figure out the rest for ourselves. That being said, where is Cam Newton right now? Earlier today, I saw a video on Instagram of where he was doing some workouts with a player throwing the ball, and it looked like his footwork and his technique were looking better. His mechanics were looking better, and as I mentioned before, that was two of the major concerns I had about his playing ability right now. The second was his injury. Now, if you look at that Instagram video, his injuries don't look that bad. Honestly, I think whoever's been working with him has been doing an excellent job. They've been getting him back in shape. And, it didn't seem like he was feeling any pain when he threw those passes. Granted, those were casual passes, but, the footwork, the arm accuracy was there. Everything was there. But here's the third thing that bothered me about Cam Newton's situation is because of his decision-making under pressure. Now, normally I wouldn't harp on this, because there's so many players that have trouble with this issue. and it's not just him. But combined with the injuries and combined with his bad footwork and his bad technique before people started working with him and really, really started honing those in this year, um, you know, all three of those things really combined to screw up his career so far after 2015. So, my thought is, what, who's been working with him? Because whoever it is has done an excellent job working with him. The last two videos I saw on Instagram, I've been impressed. The first one was, just him getting back on his feet, just throwing some balls, casual stuff. Same as the second one, but the second one, he was really, really trying to show us that he had been working on those things, seriously working on those things and putting in the effort. And I appreciate that and I respect that. I want to say one major thing for the people of this channel watching. I have been a Cam Newton supporter from the very beginning. I never was not a Cam Newton supporter. The only two reasons I wanted him to be set free from this team is, one, the lies about his injuries, and number two, his decision making under pressure. That's it. I just didn't see the money justifying the means. The skills that he was putting out in the last 4 years. I didn't see it. So, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, folks. You take a look at his contracts. That's a lot of money to pay a man that's barely on the field. And if you guys see it like I do, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So now we're going to talk about Ron Rivera and what he had to say. And this comes from the 24/7 Sports. I'll link it down below. You can read the whole thing for yourself. But I'm just going to pick out certain parts of it. In particular, Ron's comments. He said that the former league MVP earlier this spring in Washington, he believes he has injury concerns in league franchise's inability to meet with the quarterback during the pandemic is why he isn't signed. Point blank, injury concerns. Now I want to single out those two words right there. Injury concerns. What have we been talking about for the past 6 months, folks? Much less the past 4 years. Or 5 now. Working on 5. Injury concerns. So now Ron admits it. But when he was in Carolina, he never admitted it. Not much. Not much. He admitted there were injuries. He didn't admit anything about them. And then when he did, he lied about them. You see a growing pattern here? This is what you're in for, Washington. Buckle up. So, I don't think the ability for him to be meeting with franchises is going to affect his non-signability right now. I don't think it is. You look at Eli Apple. We just signed Eli Apple. We didn't even meet with this guy. We just signed him. Out of the clear blue sky, we signed him. I didn't even hear any reports on the fact that we were going to sign him before we did. And we'll get to him in a second. So that now you see why Ron's words don't hold water here. You got to know the foot and the shoulder will be the two biggest concerns everybody has. I will say this though, from the people that are around him that I know, they've all said the same thing to me. No kidding, Ron. You got to be kidding me, bro. Now he jumps on board the gravy train. Oh, now that he's not coaching Cam Newton, now he can say that. Give me a break. They just said, Coach, he looks great. He really does. And they also told me he's a little bit different. His whole attitude, he's got something to prove. And I will say this. The one thing about Cam Newton with an edge for something to prove, don't ever bet against him. Facts. Facts. Anybody ever says that, tell them that right there. Facts. When that man says he's on a mission, he is on a mission, folks. You ever seen Cam Newton not be on a mission? You ever see that man not motivated? The last 2016 to 2019, he looked like he was dragging. And I'll tell you this, now he's back on a mission again. And I'd be surprised if he isn't signed after this quarantine's over. I would be shocked. He says he is open to playing backup until he can get a starting job. He is also open to waiting for an injury to happen to get a starting job. That's what he said, ladies and gentlemen. Straight out of the horse's mouth. And I'm really, really happy for him. As this article keeps going with Arizona being interested in him, but it just didn't happen. Here's the comments about that. Newton's chances of landing a starting job or lucrative backup money went out the window a while ago, but Arizona is among the teams that could still stand up to upgrade the number 2 spot. This is from Cody Benjamin, the analyst for CBS Sports. So, that being what it is, and the article on the Cat Cave is more of the same, from Ron Rivera. So, that being said, I think we've covered it as much as we could, except for Marty Hurney right now. Marty Hurney. Here we go, Marty. Here we go. When Mike Tolbert blew the whistle on Cam Newton, Marty defended the medical team. So, yeah, here's Mike Tolbert's words here. And this is from Fansided. They've been doing him wrong timing-wise for the last 2 to 3 years, if you ask me. It goes back to his shoulder surgery. Everyone knew his shoulder was messed up in the middle of the year. 2 years ago, they wait until off-season gets ready to have a shoulder surgery. As soon as he gets hurt, last preseason against the Patriots, they were saying, oh, he's got a high ankle sprain. Remember that in the medical reports? But you wait until December for him to beg you to have surgery. He shouldn't have been out there week 1 and 2. He shouldn't have been out there probably till week 4 or 5 at minimum. This is coming from Mike Tolbert, the Toldozer. And here's Marty. I understand everyone's going to have their opinions, and they're certainly entitled to them. I have respect for our medical staff, and I have great respect for Cam Newton. Okay. Now, maybe Fansided is taking this out of context. Maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. Being that that's all that he said, this could go either way. It's your interpretation versus everyone else's, really, on this one. I'm going to choose to say that he did not back up the medical staff on Cam Newton's injury status, but that doesn't mean he didn't, if that makes sense. He didn't specifically say anything about Cam Newton's injuries and what they were versus what they should have been. So, that being said, I'm not going to slam Marty right now. Now, was this the right thing to say? No. And I'll tell you this, for absolute sure, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen during this Cam Newton situation. And I don't like that the injuries on the injury report were not correct. And Carol, my assistant, pointed this out. Give credit to Carol yet again. She was right about PJ Walker, and she's now correct about this. You know, she was the first one to say, what if the medical reports are not correct? What if they put something different in the medical records when they scouted him and checked him for injuries before we caught him? Yeah, I don't know, guys. You be the judge. You be the judge on this one. But I'll tell you this. That it was a very delicate and challenging situation. We do have Teddy Bridgewater now. We have PJ Walker. We have Will Greer that I don't agree with. The fact that we still have him. But even then, we're basically right at the cap space line. So, even if we got rid of Will Greer, we can't get Cam back. So, you know, guys, if you want him back, it's not going to happen. Not this year. Now, if you want to push for it next year, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to say no. It just depends on where he gets signed, if he gets signed for a 1-year deal. Now, if he does not, I'm going to push for a workout, a specific type of workout. Management, I hope you're listening to this, because this is what we need to do to truly test his abilities. I want training camp style tests. Meaning, I want him to go up against offensive line versus defensive line, realistic training camp drills, like they have in training camp. Use that to properly test him. Our pass rush is is actually decent now. So, and our line is actually decent now. So use that to properly test him. And I encourage all the teams around the league to do this as well. That way you get a fair comparison about what he can do versus what he can't do. Now, I trust the scouts. I trust those in scouting positions. However, I think that would be a more accurate test. You need to know what he can do under pressure. You need to know what he can do while he is flushed out of the pocket. You need to make sure that he does not make the wrong decisions like he was making before. And throwing half of, at least 30 to 40% of his passes were picks in the last 4 years. I'm going off a generated number off my mind, but you can look up the stats, and I'm probably pretty close to correct on that. If not, I'm very, very close. That being said, properly test him, properly vet him. If you're still worried about injuries at that point, then it'll depend on how long he wants to get signed for and for how much. Any team that wants to take a chance on that, that's their choice. I'm not going to say no, but I will say he is motivated. So, he's got that backing him up. So, we'll see where this goes. I don't have confidence that anyone's going to sign him in probably the next month here, but by the end of preseason, he will be signed by somebody. That I can pretty much guarantee you. As a backup, or maybe as a starter for a year or two. That's the best I can really say. But Ron really screwed up his career, and I'm very, very disappointed in that. We all know what he was capable of, folks. And Cam haters, don't deny this. Don't deny this at all. Look at his rookie numbers. This will back up my claim. Cam Newton, if Ron had not screwed up his career, if our management had not screwed up his career, and we had actually gotten some protection on the line, this man would be sitting with at least 2 MVP trophies. At least 2, folks. NFC Player of the Year at least. A couple of times. And at least 1 Lombardi trophy sitting in Charlotte right now. And this also goes back, our management screwed up on Gettleman as well. If we had kept Gettleman around, 2016 would have been our Lombardi year. We could have had it on in 15, but we didn't fix left tackle. So 16 was all lined up. All lined up. All we had to do was keep it rolling with Gettleman's plan. Can you imagine all the weapons he had in 15? He don't even have a third of those in New York right now. What he can do with an actual set of players that is highly dangerous, I don't even need to tell you. Because he's already made the history. He's already won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. With that crew. He built that up long term. So, our management screwed up in 2 fronts on that one. Because I feel like in the next draft, Gettleman would have pushed for a left tackle. Or something to protect the line. That was our only weak spot, ladies and gentlemen. That was our only weak spot. We were saving money, we had depth, we had everything. And I hate to remind you guys of that painful time, but it's necessary because we need to learn from it and get better as a franchise and as a team in order to move forward and change the things that we did wrong. Fix those things and get moving again. That being said, that will do it for this video. It's a bit long-winded, like my hair, because of the quarantine. But thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the new subs, all the new likes. And I hope you guys enjoy my content as much as I enjoy making it. Leave a comment down below if you feel like it. What are your thoughts on my opinions here? And I pose a question to you. If Ron Rivera was not worried about injuries and things of that nature, why hasn't he signed Cam yet? Discussion in the comments below. Let me hear some opinions. I want to know. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for the love. And I'll see you guys in the next video. More to come. Thanks a lot. And keep pounding.